A year these days is a long time, especially with the ramp up of AI.
I'm sure she won't mind me saying it, but that was you and Charlotte to a T, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where fundamentally you kind of ended up taking those different journeys anyway, because Charlotte was all about that. Charlotte was really, really...
I mean, why does Black Friday for us start in August?
I will scream my head off and from every single rooftop the importance of flows. Like, if you focus anywhere first, let that be your focus. Easiest leak to begin to fix now that reduces that cognitive load and those anxieties about Black Friday.
I think brand owners tend to avoid anything that they feel like they're behind on. And I will say this one thing, everyone still feels unprepared no matter how much prep work they've done. I always get to Black Friday and I'm like, the second half of the year can change everything.
Welcome back to Generate Growth, the podcast where we talk all things ecom, marketing and growth. Today is mid-year reset, which sounds a little bit unsexy, but why are we having a mid-year reset?
I think it's so important. Like, sometimes the goals that you set out at the beginning of the year, they change. Even if you're going to hit them, they change. Like, you can see yourself going one way and you're not liking the vibe. But I think also it just gives you a bit of a reset of energy, a reset of understanding of why you're doing this, what you're trying to achieve. So yeah, mid-year reset is super important. We're actually doing ours this afternoon, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. But obviously very, very important as we lead up to Q4, right?
Yeah,
it's important for every single business. You know, what a reset looks like. What do you think a reset looks like? Is it performance? Is it reporting? What do you think we're talking about, and what do you think a brand needs to address?
I think it's, first of all, looking at where you are versus where you predicted you were going to be. Especially going into this Q4 period, right? Because the second half of the year can change everything. So let's take it for positive for once. Say you're ahead of where you're supposed to be. Looking at how that's going to impact your business. Because yes, you might have had an amazing 6 months and everything's going your way and you're on it and you're scaling quickly and you've got all these orders coming in and you're doing better than you ever thought it would be. But there's always a downside to that. Maybe you've not done your stock management to the best ability that you could be to keep that level of momentum up. Maybe your lead times are very long, so you need to make sure that you're on it, so that you make sure that everything is scaling in line with where you're currently scaling to. Checking in with yourself personally, checking in with your team, making sure that your key players are being looked after and hydrated and fed and ready to go again.
Like little gremlins.
Yeah. It's just other avenues that you've been recommended or been hearing about, aka AI, huge one going into Q4 this year, that you've not yet looked into but now need to bake into the plan because it's going to have more of an impact than you ever considered. A year these days is a long time, especially with the ramp up of AI, the LLMs, changes in shopping behaviour. So I think having this 6 month, even down to a quarter reset is so important for any business, because the second part of the year can really make or break where you're going to be in 2027.
So to begin that reset, first thing a brand needs to do is sit back and assess everything.
Yeah, I think a brand sitting back and assessing everything that they're doing is super important, and getting that forecasting right. Even if you're slightly harsh on yourself somewhat on where the forecasting is, it allows you to plan properly and efficiently. And I think it sets your expectations for what the next period is going to look like.
What is then, kind of moving on to making this reset pragmatic for anyone that's listening, what would you say is the most common leak that a brand owner might be facing at about 50 to 100k a month?
I think the most common leak is that you've maybe been running everything so quickly on speed that you've not really been reflecting on what's working and what isn't working, and where you can double down on your efforts and spend half your time. A lot of clients want to make sure that their product is being put everywhere all the time in a bunch of different ways, with a load of angles being thrown at it. But actually, you want to be really reading what the data's telling you so that you can make informed decisions on what to do next. Because without that understanding, you'll never unlock the next level. So to give like a really specific example, it might be that your Google strategy is absolutely popping off and you know that that's going to have a level of stabilization to it. So you can keep fundamentally scaling that whilst testing other things out. So it might be that Meta is a bit slower for you because you've not really got the capacity to curate a lot of UGC, or your statics are just not slapping. Well, but maybe what you need to do is have a look at how you're going to optimize those and like come up with a couple of different game plans to be able to unlock that as a real growth channel. And maybe it isn't a growth channel. Yeah. Maybe it's a traffic driver, and accepting that and building that into a game plan, because I do believe that every marketing channel does have its value, whatever that looks like. So really, for me, understanding what is working, what isn't working, and putting a time assessment onto how much impact that's going to have on your profitability and scalability and ultimately you hitting your goals is so important.
From my perspective, and I think I sound like a broken record at this point, I think one of the most common leaks that I notice is email not supporting paid.
Interesting, yeah.
I think it happens so frequently, especially with flows. And I will scream my head off and from every single rooftop the importance of flows. Like if you focus anywhere first, let that be your focus.
Yeah.
Because all of those people that you're putting ad spend into and getting into your funnel are just dropping straight off and not receiving anything afterwards. Yeah. And that timely messaging that flows achieve is so important for nurturing that customer journey.
I think as well with flows, it's an automation. So a lot of people just go, I'm just going to leave it. Like it's doing fine. I'm just going to leave it. And there's not that active testing all the time of what could be what could be done better. How can we get even better results? Yeah. Where is a drop off? Why is it dropping off? Can we attribute it to something in design, or is it just that the flow's too long, or have we not put enough segmentation in there? All these things like don't get analysed enough, in my opinion, and they can kind of be left by the wayside. Yeah. But it can be a low-hanging fruit opportunity.
Absolutely. We've seen that this week. Our caravan mattress brand, they're not just a caravan brand though, are they actually? They had their flows set up, and I went in, I did an analysis of them, and I went, they're set up, sure, but they're not efficient, and you are leaving so much revenue on the table right now. They had so many abandonment opportunities lost. And the reason for that was they were only hitting one of them. They had a checkout abandonment set up that was gathering data, and it was performing really well. You know, for a flow that the client had set up themselves, it was performing really, really well, and they should absolutely be proud of themselves for that. But fundamentally, what about those that added to cart and never actually went to the checkout? They're still interested in your product. What about those that were browsing? They're also still interested in your product, and all these people were being missed. And that flow has now been live for a week, I think now, maybe 4 days, something ridiculous like that. And we've already seen a massive, massive uptick in the revenue in those flows just by filling those little gaps. And I think for me, first quick fix.
Oh yeah, that's especially going into Q4, it's like a huge one. And dare I say it, I think one of the most valuable things that you can do is actually build a whole new flow suite during Black Friday to make sure that you're capturing every opportunity. And I'm not going to get too excited about like the new business that we're going to be unlocking and the new service delivery we're going to be unlocking, but those automations are so fundamental during that period to keep that customized journey.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I completely agree. Making sure that your marketing channels are communicating with each other and it feels like the same brand, but adding that element of personalization based on the specific platform, so important. So important.
And I think building them early enough as well that you can learn from the data and finesse.
I mean, why does Black Friday for us start in August? We always say that Black Friday starts in August, and even early.
July, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, our prep starts in July, and we're getting the clients to prep on numbers and making sure that we kind of have a close finger on the pulse of what the lead time is around that period. But I mean, really, testing should happen around the August, September, October, and a bunch of different things should be happening during that period. I mean, in the UK, there's a huge bank holiday weekend there where you can test a bunch of things out because it's very I know it's not the exact same, but it's kind of like an elongated period, such as Black Friday, so you can see how things slap. You got things like Halloween following in there. Like there's so many opportunities to have fun and test and split test offers. And it doesn't just need to be the basic thing of, just slapping something up on Black Friday weekend. Trying to build a bit of predictability going into that weekend is so important.
Yeah. Obviously, we spoke... I can't even get my words out now, so apparently we don't speak. We speak a lot about mental health, burnout, etc. because, we see it impact brand owners a lot. What would you say is the easiest leak to begin to fix now that reduces that cognitive load and those anxieties about Black Friday?
I always say at this point, start to get your people in that you trust. I know that obviously Black Friday happens every single year, and hopefully you don't have a high staff churn that you're looking, or a high agency churn that you're looking for new agencies and staff all the time. But securing like the specific roles and what people are expected to do during this period, that allows them to go and concentrate on the zone of geniuses so that you can grow and develop this business, whatever that looks like to you and wherever your zone of genius within the business is. For example, I'm like great at like planning and building and showcasing different bits and pieces within the business. But when it comes to the numbers side of things, God, am I bad? So having an accountant that you can trust during that period is so important, right? And it can go down to the fundamentals of that. If you're not good at making content, why are you still trying to achieve it? Go and hire content creators. Go and look at your influencer marketing strategy. Go and look at what AI UGC is saying. All these things are now at the touch of your fingertips, and you can get this delivered back to you in time for Black Friday, way in advance, so you're not stressing out as much. So understand where your flaws are personally, and then kind of trying to build around that is so important.
Yeah, I think leaks can feel very confronting though, can't they? Because it fundamentally means you're doing something wrong here.
Yeah.
What do you think people tend to avoid then in terms of these leaks, and what might be the sticking point?
I think brand owners tend to avoid. I think they tend to avoid anything that they feel like they're behind on, which doesn't make a lot of sense. But I think that's what they do. They kind of send themselves into kind of a pit of despair and comparison syndrome, and we should be here and we should be there, when actually you need to be focusing on what is happening inside your business. And having that comparison syndrome is great. It's to get you driven and get you up and out every single morning. But when you start to compare to the point of, why is my brand not P. Louise yet? Why is my brand not Made by Mitchell yet? Why is my brand not this? Why is my brand not that? Why have we not got here yet? Those questions can be important to ask. But fundamentally looking at what's happening internally, knowing your numbers and being able to really understand, well, you're maybe not in the same ballpark as these people yet, but this is a system, this is a strategy that's going to get you there. You need to double down and hunker on it, maybe spend a little cash, maybe spend a little time. Yeah. That'll get you to the next bit. But I think it is, again, about leaving your ego at the door, and that can be so difficult to do sometimes.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think comparison is the thief of joy. Is that like the age-old saying?
Yeah. And there's a lot of joy in growing and developing a business.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of joy to be found in a mistake as well.
Oh, 100%.
Like you can really, really learn from them and grow from them. So I think it's embracing that as well and allowing yourself to accept that, because, to use those examples that you just had of P. Louise, Made by Mitchell, etc., they're all doing great, but we don't know the hours that they're working, how stressed they are when they go home, and how much they're exhausting themselves in the workplace. We don't know how many times the fulfillment center are messing up orders. We don't know how many times their social media marketer posted something on the wrong day.
We don't know how much money they're making.
No idea.
We don't know how much money they're making. A lot of these times with these brands, there's an erosion of margin somewhere. And a brand that's making maybe 100K a month could be making the same as a brand that's doing $1 million a month based on profitability alone. And that's why it's so, again, fundamental to understand your numbers, because that is where the system and the scale is in there. Some people want the title of 7-figure business owner, 8-figure business owner, 9-figure business owner. Some people want a business that's profitable, that runs smooth sailing, and they can have that creativity and joy pumped into it. Some people are building for selling their business. you really need to understand your why on why you're doing this, and not just breathe off other brands, because that isn't going to get you authenticity or originality in your specific brand itself.
Yeah, I think that not knowing the why is the sticking point.
It's so important. I know it's so basic, but I can't remember who wrote the book. I don't think it's Simon Sinek, but Start With Why is so important. It's a bit of a basic one, but it is literally so fundamentally important to understanding why you're here. I'll be the first to say, I don't want to be this kind of business owner that's slogging Monday to Sunday, 16-hour shifts, burning myself into the ground. Currently, I'm in it. We're working hard. We work a lot. But do I want that to be my next 2, 3, 4, 5 years? No, I'm much more of a reserved, introverted kind of person. It doesn't build to my personality, and I want to look after myself, because without me, this doesn't continue. But some people love it. Yeah. Some people feed extroverts, energy sponges, and just want to be out there all the time.
I'm sure she won't mind me saying it, but that was you and Charlotte to a T, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where fundamentally you kind of ended up taking those different journeys anyway, because Charlotte was all about that. Charlotte was really, really passionate about connecting with people, and you're more of I really want to be stuck in data. I want to get things done. And then I want to close my laptop and I want to go out for a coffee and for a walk, and I just want
on my own. Well, yeah, with you. But I mean, like, that's the fundamental character difference, right? Yeah. Charlotte is such a people's person.
Absolutely.
Love her for it. She can attract anyone to her, and it's a very admirable trait to have.
And we're vampires.
Yeah, we're literally
Close
Edward Cullen
the blinds,
and Bella Swan. That is us.
Close the blinds at the weekend and pretend.
Hiss if someone opens them.
You actually do that.
Yep. That is me. And I think that fundamentally I understand that, though, which is why I've got a client success manager that goes and jumps on the call, gets the client excited, games plans with the clients, give me back, the data nerd, the information that I need to get them to that next level. Because if you put me in front of clients who might be having a difficult day, trust that's going to impact me to the point where I'm going to have a difficult day. And then what happens? Yeah. I understand that. That's me leaving my ego at the door of, I know I'm a bit shit in these places, and I'm going to replace that part of me out of the business first, because I know it will zap my energy quicker. Yeah. And having that skill is, without blowing my own trumpet, because having that skill, it's one of the best things a business owner can have. But it's true, because it builds that resilience and that long-term planning and action taking into things.
Yeah, it's getting very lads podcast in here now, isn't it?
I know. Should I start pulling up this and making it into more like a vest?
But no, with all sincerity, I do think that being able to confront your sticking point and address those leaks
100%.
Is the key. And I think that's where that mid-year reset can really come into play, because we all start off in January, we go, I've got it. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's all my New Year's resolutions. And by the end of January, the gym subscription's not been used. And
what about me this year? 52 books I was supposed to read.
How many is it now?
I'm on 7, and
we're in June today.
We're on a bit of and I've got 7 that I'm currently reading as well.
I mean, speaking of sticking points, though, and avoiding things, you set yourself up for failure, because every single book that you picked up was about this thick. So let's be real. Your sticking point in that situation is...
I always bite off more than I can chew.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So leaky bucket fixed, read smaller books.
Yeah, read smaller books or read less. It's just as simple as that. But yeah, I think ultimately, that is so important for anyone, is really leaving their ego at the door and understanding when another person can come in and do it a lot fucking better. Yeah. And finding those people is another key skill to really scale in your business.
Absolutely. So if a brand owner is currently resonating, they're thinking, I've got all these leaky buckets, I've got my sticking points, etc., where the hell do I go next? If we gave them kind of like a 7-day reset, obviously a quick turnaround, what do you think you'd be advising them to fix now in advance of Black Friday?
AI is your friend. I think a proper second brain being built into AI and prompting it well enough to be able to maintain the information, building an operating system. I think every business is going to end up with an operating system through AI. Again, a podcast episode, but starting to fundamentally utilise that. We're in the age of information overload. And if you can start to offset some of your key tasks into AI, so you're at least getting prompted and reminded of the things that you're a little bit shit at, to then come back and work on them again, is ultimately going to be the best thing that you can do. So use the 7 days to offload to then rebuild. I think a lot of people try to rebuild without that initial period of getting the pen and paper out or getting the text box up and just going for it and leaving as much as it can, like taking it out of here and putting it into somewhere is so powerful.
Do you think it would be fair to say then, based on everything that we've kind of touched base on today, that in order to have that mid-year reset, someone needs to be first sitting back and analysing the situation, understanding their own motivators, where they're coming from, and offloading that to progress through the difficulty?
Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, you've took the dart and hit the bullseye.
180.
The one.
Yeah, I went for 180.
The big fish.
We're really exposing ourselves as like in darts here now, though. I've got to say, a bit embarrassing.
Bit geeky.
Do you have anything else to add on the reset at all?
I don't. I just think look after yourself. Like,
yeah,
Q4's coming. It always comes thick and fast. And I will say this one thing: everyone still feels unprepared, no matter how much prep work they've done. I always get to Black Friday and I'm like, ugh. And then I'm like, no shit, the systems have been built for a reason and we've got everything smooth sailing, but everyone goes through that same fear cycle. So find solace in other brand owners, find solace in other like agency or anyone that you trust within the community, and definitely just keep safe, keep well, keep hydrated.
Yeah, and if you're in the e-com space, just know that you cannot have Black Friday as hard as we have it, because our anniversary fell on Black Friday weekend.
Yeah.
And will do for forever now. So
until we get married.
Yeah, until we get married and we change the anniversary. But yeah, that was delightful.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's been great talking about all these leaky buckets with you and having a mid-year reset. Shall we sign off the way that we sign off team meeting?
Let's do it.